Hello and welcome to the Free Yourself from Heartbreak interview series. I am your host, Rebecca Boatman, and today I am so honored to bring you PJ Dixon. Now, PJ is a lifelong motivational speaker and an international life, love, and relationship coach who focuses on results. He is affectionately known as the love guru, and after spending any time with him, you'll really understand why. He lives his life with a single mission: love deeply and teach others to do the same. He is the creator of 2 different coaching programs on love and relationships. And despite PJ's disability, which was expected to take his life by 7 years old, he chose to live, and he lives well. PJ is truly, he truly lives an extraordinary life: sailing, outdoor skydiving, indoor skydiving, trapezing, zip lining, hiking, mountain climbing, snow skiing, water skiing, jet backpacking. Like, what? I've never done that. And the list goes on. He's a former wheelchair athlete, an international traveler, amateur watercolorist, founder of 2 nonprofit organizations, and 4 disabled sport programs, a published author, a 10th degree black belt, martial arts and women's self-defense instructor, and a meditation teacher. Additionally, he has been inducted into the National Hall of Fame for people with disabilities and was nominated to carry the Olympic torch through Tucson in 2002. Hello and welcome, PJ. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you. I love you a ton, and I'm super glad to be here. It's funny when I hear my own bio, it's a little bit like, oh, it's just so much. Maybe I should find a way just to shorten it and just say he's a coach and a speaker. Um, but I love the way I've lived. I've had an amazing life. And, that's what I really stand for: living and loving without limits.
Beautiful. I love it. And you got to keep your bio this way because it's fun hearing the trapezing, aqua jet packing. Like, I've never done that. You're inspiring me to go do those things.
I can't even lift my hands,
What?
right? My hands don't even, my arms, I can't lift my arms, and my fingers don't close. So there's always a way to find out what you want to do. And the same right now, right? There's always a way to find your way through the breakup. Same
Absolutely.
exact thing.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to hear what you have to say on that. And my first question for you, love, is
Yes.
what causes the pain and the heartbreak? And to speak, just any ladies and men listening to this, like, we can all relate to pain. We can all relate to it. So when I ask you, PJ, what do you think causes the pain in a heartbreak specifically?
I think there's a couple of different things. Number one, I would say, is lack of closure, right? I would say that this is the biggest number one thing. Now, some coaches and therapists will say there's no such thing as closure, but I don't necessarily agree with that, because for me, my experience with my clients, with myself, is that when you actually sit down and have a conversation with somebody and they understand where, or you know that they understand where you're coming from, you understand where they're coming from. And even though it might hurt a little bit, it hurts significantly less when there's actually closure. And closure happens by having that conversation about what didn't work. But more importantly, start by, here are the things that I love about you and that I like about you. And this is actually a really great way to even break up. Here are the things that I love about you and the things that I really like and admire. Here are the 2 or 3 things that just didn't work for me. But I really want you to know that I really love this and this and this about you, and thank you for this and this and this. So this is a really great way to kind of wrap it up, and then be bold enough and courageous enough to sit in that process during the breakup, so that they can have a chance to share their voice. You can share your voice. Practice listening. Practice asking questions. Be honest. Practice being courageous enough and honest enough to share where you're coming from. Not everybody's going to play this game with you, but if you find somebody that will play this game with you, the closure is so much quicker. The pain doesn't feel as deep, and you're able to go on quicker with your life. It's just amazing how this happens, because when you experience pain, the second piece is guilt, right? So the second reason that people experience pain and breakup is because they feel guilty. Now, they may not feel guilty feeling like they necessarily did something wrong, but a variation of guilt where their brain is a bit confused, right? Where their brain is trying to figure out what happened. So guilt is designed in the brain to keep us from doing anything dumb again that causes pain, right? So our primal brain, or what used to be referred to as a primal brain, we now recognize it as just neural pathways. Um, that is designed to keep us alive. And so when we break up, we experience all this pain and this tragedy and this feeling bad. And so there's confusion. Why did it happen? What went wrong? I shouldn't have done that. I should have done this. So this sense of grief is an umbrella emotion that covers confusion and guilt and fear and hurt and anger and frustration. So when you experience guilt is designed in the brain to make you go, hey, that caused us pain. Let's not do that again. And until you actually say, okay, well, what am I actually, from a conscious mindset, not a subconscious mind, from the intentional conscious mind, when you say, okay, that caused me pain. Why did it cause me pain? What will I do next time instead? What's my game plan when that happens? So you actually mark out, like you set a stage or set the plan ahead of time to do something different. If you find yourself in a situation that led you to feel guilty, um, then you won't do that again. Right when you're like, I know I won't do that again because I'll behave in this way, the guilt washes away because all of a sudden the brain goes, okay, we've resolved that. We're not going to do that again. No, 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 we're not going to do it again. We're going to do it this way. Okay, so I can let go of the feeling of guilt that made you feel bad to warn you don't do that again. Since you've got a game plan, I can let go of the guilt. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And I want to ask you
Yeah.
specifically, I love how you went through the wave, right? There's like a wave in a breakup, and I love the way that you articulated it.
Thank
And
you.
with letting go of the guilt, and I like how, you said the mind then has a way, if it has a game plan, it helps to let go of the guilt. Is there anything extra right there, as one, anyone going through a breakup, right? There's an ownership piece that comes
Yes.
with it.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to touch on as far as like personal forgiveness within that?
Yeah. You know what? I really love that. That's really an important component. So absolutely. When you have that sense of guilt and you realize what you've done, right? And maybe you don't have guilt in your breakup, right? Maybe you just have frustration, anger, grief, confusion, sadness. But if you do experience some kind of guilt and you get to that point where like, okay, this caused somebody to hurt, this thing consequently caused me to hurt. I don't like it. Here's my new game plan.
Mhm.
Then the process of forgiveness is to look at yourself and ask yourself, why did you do that? What is it that you were hoping to accomplish? Were you afraid at some point? And realize that the level of compassion that you might have for a friend who did that, not to you, but to somebody else, somebody who might be your best friend, instead of judging them, we often have this sense of compassion for them. Realize that you are also suffering and struggling in that moment. And when you realize that, you can let go of the sense of, um, uh, you can allow yourself to forgive yourself, is a better way to say that. You
Mm,
can release that sense of, I am a horrible human being, or whatever negative things you might be saying to yourself. Now, here's the thing, right? Um, the only way this really is going to happen is if you recognize the two parts of your brain, your conscious brain and your subconscious brain. So I'm actually glad that you asked this question. Okay, so I'm gonna back up a little bit. I want to
let's
get excited. Okay, so
do
um, all right, so you can see you see my wheelchair back there, right? I'm a little tiny guy, so I got to move around sometimes when I get excited. So look, there's two parts of your brain. I talk about this a lot because I want people to really start to understand this: the conscious brain, the subconscious brain. Okay, so the conscious brain and the subconscious brain collectively are responsible for four R's. R as in the letter R. Okay, the subconscious brain is responsible for remembering, recalling, and revealing. Okay. Remembering everything that's ever happened, recalling, because you may not recall everything that you remember, but it's in there. Okay. And then once your conscious brain says, hey, why are we struggling? Why are we suffering? When you actually sit down and have a conversation with yourself about the guilt, about the forgiveness, about the actions that happen, about the confusion, when you try to figure this out, if you have to figure out if you can't get any closure, and you need to have a conversation with yourself, you can play both roles. You can play the role of the partner, you can play your role. You can ask the questions and answer the questions back and forth, back and forth. And your brain doesn't know the difference, and it will start to release some things. But here's what's important. If I go back to the two parts of the brain, the subconscious is responsible for remembering everything, recalling the things that seem to be bothering it, and then only revealing what's bothering it truthfully, at the deeper levels, when the conscious brain says, hey, why are we struggling? What's going on? Talk
it.
to me. Why am I frustrated? Why am I hurting? Why am I sad? Why am I so angry? Why am I so disappointed? Why did this mean so much to me? When we change the meaning of it, then all of a sudden the pain and the emotions change. All right. And how do you change the meaning? Well, first and foremost, this conscious brain has to have a dialogue with the subconscious brain. Get in the mirror, pick up your journal, go to your computer and type. But I love to go to the mirror, and if I can't get it all out, and I get close, like 2, 3, 4 inches away from the mirror, because I don't want to see anything in my background. I just want to see my eyes. I want to see my face. I want to see, am I lying to myself? I want to be 100% present. So I'll have conversations with myself in the mirror, 2, 3, 4 inches away, and I will ask myself questions. Why are we so upset? Why are we so frustrated? Why am I disappointed? Why did that hurt? Did I mean to do that to this person? And when you ask the questions, you also play the role of the subconscious mind. The conscious mind asks the questions, and then you answer
Mm,
from the subconscious mind's place. And when you answer, that's the reveal. And
mm,
this is important because when the conscious mind takes interest in what's going on and asks, why are we feeling, notice we, not I, why are we struggling? Why are we suffering? Why are we feeling pain? The subconscious mind, which is actually your best friend, your
mm,
subconscious mind will reveal everything that's bothering you about that situation. And as long as the conscious mind stays actively involved, asking questions and working towards a resolve, and the subconscious mind continues to answer, that conscious mind will come to its R. Remember 4 R's. The first three are associated with the subconscious mind. Remember, recall, reveal. But the conscious mind's job is to
mm,
resolve the conflict, resolve the pain, resolve the situation. When it does that, all of a sudden you start to feel better, instantly better. And if you go to the mirror and you feel like, say, 70, 80% better, then go to your journal and write, because sometimes you have to write a little bit to get more out. And ask yourself those questions, the same kinds of questions, and write, because the more you get out, the more you get out, the more you get up, the more you're throwing up the toxins,
mm,
making you feel better. And a lot of times, like Buddhists, for example, would say, no, just let it go, be present. And I would agree with that. But most people don't know how to be present. So let's deal with what's in the past that's bothering you, in the recent past that's bothering you. So bring it forward, resolve the issues, know who you are now, know what you want to do, take that next step by letting this stuff go. Once you resolve it, the subconscious mind stops processing the pain and the heart stops feeling the pain. And
mm,
this is really beautiful and super important. There's
mm,
another piece to that. Oh, one more piece. If you don't have this conversation with yourself, you're going to go out and find your best friend, your best boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. You're going to go find somebody to talk to about it. You're going to talk to anybody. You're going to talk to a stranger. Why? Because the subconscious mind needs to reveal it, needs to get it out. It wants to get out the toxins. It's sick, right? And it wants to talk about what's going on, so that once it reveals it, somebody else can help it resolve the problem. Or your conscious brain can go, wow, that's a great idea. Yes, we're going to do that. And then the situation starts to get resolved. That's all the subconscious brain wants. So let me give you the information so you, conscious brain, can resolve it. If you don't do that, there's a secret fifth R:
mm,
rebelling or revolting or
mm,
revolution. That's when you get sick. That's when you get angry. That's when you get depressed. That's when you drop into states of solitude where you just want to hide away in the breakup process. So it's really important to recognize you're only in that state because you're not working to resolve the conflict inside your subconscious mind. You're still in that state of confusion, guilt, or feeling like there's no closure.
I love the way that you just described all that and how in depth you are. And that's absolutely beautiful and so true, PJ. And I have a question that came up for our audience, and because I'm kind of thinking of what they might ask.
Yes.
And one is, if you're having if I, you, we are having a conversation in the mirror with our conscious and our subconscious, how can you identify, like, okay, now this is my subconscious coming through? Is it an emotion that will be evoked and feel very real for you, or what is it when I know, okay, I'm being intimate to the point where I'm being honest, completely brutally honest, and my subconscious is coming forth?
I think that's an amazing question. No one has ever asked me that question, and it's an important question. Yes, sometimes you will feel that emotion. Yes, sometimes you will cry. Yes, sometimes you will rage. Yes, sometimes you will laugh at yourself. Yes, sometimes you will say, that's ridiculous. That's just stupid. That's dumb. Why are we thinking that? We got rid of that stuff a long time ago. We let go of that. So yes, there will be some emotion. But the other answer is, it also doesn't matter. Just start talking.
Mm,
Because when you ask a question, your subconscious mind is designed by default to answer the question. And that's the real problem in breakups. You're saying and asking you're saying the wrong things to yourself and asking yourself the wrong questions. Why did he break up with me? Well, because you gained weight, because you stopped brushing your teeth, because you quit your job, because you nagged him, because whatever it is, like you're going to come up with all kinds of answers, whether they're true or not. Your
Yeah.
subconscious mind is going to come up with all kinds of answers. So what if you ask different questions? What could I have done differently to show up more fully for him? How could I have honored myself quicker to get out of the relationship sooner? What are the things that I learned from this? What did I actually love and respect and appreciate about him? How am I grateful for the things? What am I grateful for from this relationship? What did I get to learn? All of
Mm-hmm.
a sudden, your brain starts answering these questions also. And
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't you rather pull these things out than all of the negative? Yes, we want to flush out the negative, but the brain gives you and dumps the dopamines and the or the cortisols or the oxytocins or the other different kinds of hormones in our bodies. The chemicals that get dumped, either the cortisols and the stress chemicals, or the dopamines and the oxytocins, the feel good chemicals, it dumps either one of those based on the way you think. And the questions that you ask direct the way your subconscious mind answers. So it's okay to feel crappy and beat yourself up for a little while and ask the wrong questions, but don't do it more than a couple, 3 days. Once you're done and realize, wow, I'm asking the wrong question. Why, why does every man that I date break up with me? Why does every person that I date uh, have sex with somebody else, or break the sanctity of our relationship? Um, when you ask these questions, it makes you feel terrible because your mind starts bringing up all the terrible things that you might believe about yourself, whether or not they're true or not.
Mm-hmm.
So you might even say, I'm so dumb, I'm so stupid, I'm never going to be with anybody again. These aren't questions, these are just statements. But what they're doing is reaffirming for your subconscious mind to behave in a particular way. So it's making you feel crappy, because the truth is that all human beings want to be connected. That's just the nature. We want to come back together.
Mm-hmm.
We were originally separated, and the natural order is to come back together. And
Mm-hmm.
so this is an important uh, characteristic to recognize inside of you. So if you realize that you're thinking the wrong things, stating the wrong things, asking the wrong questions, and you just go, oh, I'm asking the wrong questions, I'm saying the wrong things. Your mind might even go, I know it is, I know I am, but I just want to feel something right now. Okay,
Yeah.
feel something for 2 or 3 days. But
Yeah.
then after that, wake up and decide to feel something different than the pain that you were feeling. Let yourself go through it, let yourself process it. But the better way to process it is go to the mirror, go to your journal, go to the person that you separated from. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
get it out, talk about it, but be careful how often you talk about it, because what happens is every problem that we have operates in a cyclical process. Let's say at the top here is the top of a circle, and then we go around to the bottom of the circle and then back around, right? So up here is the problem, and if we go down here, we talk about it, we talk about it, we talk about it, we talk about it, we feel better, we get it out. This is this bottom part down here at the bottom. This is me making an X with my nose. Um,
I love
the,
that.
this X marks the spot is where a good coach or counselor or friend will stop the conversation and change it, because from up here, you talk about it, you talk about it, you talk about it, you feel better, you feel better, you feel better. They up here again, they ask you questions, you talk about it, they ask you questions, you talk about it, they ask you questions. Eventually down here, X marks the spot at the bottom of the circle, you feel better. If the coach, friend, or therapist doesn't stop you and change the subject, and they let you continue to talk, or they ask you too many questions, you will cycle back up and amp yourself back up, and you'll come back up here to the anger. The problem is it'll just magnify, because you were feeling better, and then it'll go right back to saying, doesn't matter if I feel better, because I'm always going to end up at feeling crappy. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to stop yourself when you get to this place of feeling better. And that's when you change directions, change focus, choose what you want to think, change what you're doing with your body. I don't care if you jump rope. I don't care if you go for a jog. I don't care if you put on a funny movie. I don't care if you shadow box. I don't care if you do yoga. I don't care if you just sit there and smile in your room by yourself, right? And just smile and smile and smile and smile until you're like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. You will feel better when you change your body, you change your emotions. And when you change your emotions, you change your thinking. And when you change your thinking, your body naturally responds differently. So you get to spiral upwards. When your body responds differently, your emotions change. You think differently, your body changes, the emotions change, you think differently, you spiral up.
Wow.
Okay.
I love that, PJ. I love, two main pieces that, I mean, I love everything that you were just sharing with us
Thank
is
you.
how we show up in our bodies, the activities that we're doing will also evoke a certain emotion, a certain way of feeling. And I also really loved how you said, you're feeling a certain way, like there's the answers and then below it are the questions. So being intimate and realizing like what questions are you really asking yourself that's evoking these answers, and then also these feelings, especially when going through a fragile process such as a breakup. So, thank you for sharing that. And what you just, the last piece of what you just shared leads us directly into my next question, which is,
Can I, before we go to the next question, forgive me for interrupting, but I
yeah,
want to demonstrate really quick. Okay. So again, I'm excited, right? So I got to back up. I got to have space. Um, so if we look at how we think during a breakup, right? We're like, watch what happens to my body as I think out loud, right? As I process out loud, so that people can see what might be going on in my brain. Why doesn't that person like me? I I love them. I try to give them everything. I just don't understand. I'm the worst person ever. I always lose. I'm never going to find somebody. I'm never going to get married. I'm never going to have children. Can you see I get heavier and heavier and smaller? And then my head drops, my shoulders, like you can't really see with my shoulders because I'm wearing the wrong color, right? But my shoulders might tense up here, right? Or they might roll forward, right? I might like scowl. I might change my face. Like when we do this, we're changing our body. And where does that come from? It comes from the thinking that I mentioned a minute ago. When the thinking changes, the body changes, then the emotions change, right? And so the more I thought crap things and asked crap things and asked questions that gave me answers of negativity, the more I felt terrible and like got smaller and smaller and shrank and became weaker and weaker and lost any kind of power that I had, right? But if I say to myself, on the other hand, right, if I'm down, I'm sad, right, and I'm like, you know what, there has to be something good from this. What did I learn from that? Well, I learned that I would never, date somebody who was abusive in the first, couple 3 weeks of our dates, or who was just mean and negative. I learned that I, care about people, and that relationships should be, reciprocal, and they should be balanced. I learned that communication is the most important thing. I learned that I feel better when I'm actually laughing and playing with people. Can you see how I'm coming up? I'm not coming up because I'm physically consciously telling myself to come up. I'm not changing my face. Notice that there's not the scowl, right, in the sad face, right? I was lightening up and my face was relaxing. And the more I did that, the more I was going to smile. I could feel the joy starting to rise and release in me. I wasn't doing that on purpose. Like I wasn't physically changing my body on purpose. I was just asking different questions. I was just saying different things to myself, and my body responded consequently. My emotions were responding consequently. I would come up with more questions. So if you want to change, just smile. It's as simple as that. Set everything down and smile, right? When you breathe in, right? Look, watch. If I breathe in, if I'm like this, watch my eyebrows, watch my face. So it's all down, eyebrows down, face down when I breathe in. Right? So my face goes up, my eyes go up, my head goes up, right? And I feel this joy, elation. I only breathe twice. If I did it 3 times, I would be in beginning stages of ecstasy. You don't have to suffer. The reason that you suffer during a breakup is because you're trying to make yourself feel bad. And the truth is, you're actually trying to convince and make the universe, whether you believe in spirituality or physics or manifesting or laws of attraction or not, when we feel crappy about a breakup and we're angry and we refuse to feel better in the present moment, it's because we want to feel shitty, because we think by feeling shitty we can control everything in the universe, and we can control the situation, we can get back what we want. We're basically being spoiled. The truth is, that's never the way to get anybody back, whether you're a man or a woman. You're never going to get anybody back that way, right? The way you might get somebody back if you really want them back, and you may not want them back, but the way you find the next person in your life is you smile, you laugh, you play, you find joy, you make friends, you love other people. Is
I
this
love
okay? I just get so excited. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Forgive me. I just wanted to make sure that
okay.
everybody gets the juice, baby, the juice. They gotta get it all.
This is valuable content, and it's like with that little, you can call it a trick, a tip, anything, but
Yeah.
the fact of smiling, where if you feel like you're in your own stuff, right? Just
Yes.
consciously like forcing yourself to smile for at least 6 seconds. Like
Yes.
I love that you shared that, and I definitely think that with whoever's watching this, that can forward you in in a breakup, in any situation. Just okay, like smile, and then watch you'll feel yourself change as well.
One of my lady friends who just I just had Thanksgiving with actually. She has just recently had a breakup and she was pretty sad. And she said she just did the same thing the other day in her bedroom. She's like, she realized she was walking around, moping around. And she's like, I don't want to feel sad. So she forced herself to smile and then she forced herself to start laughing. And then when she started laughing about how ridiculous and silly she was. And then when she was laughing about how ridiculous and silly she was, she popped up and, she came back. And
Oh,
we don't have to feel bad after a breakup. We can
mm,
actually feel however we want to feel. We can feel glad. We can feel appreciative. We can be filled with love. We can be filled with
really.
compassion, relief, absolutely,
Mhm.
joy, gratitude. Okay.
Mm,
Even if it was a sad breakup, even if your heart misses them, there can be that loving gratitude that you had the chance to touch their face and look in their eyes and the joy that you shared and the love that you shared. Because
mm,
anytime there's a healthy relationship, you have the potential to carry on that friendship later on once you get past the need. And it is a need, it's a bit of an addiction, right? Because we say that the person that we're attached to, we feel love with them and for them, but really it's the addiction to the oxytocins that dump through our body when we're in the presence of that person because of what
mm.
we make that person mean to us. It's all based
Absolutely.
on how we think.
I love that. I love all this content. It's beautifully said. And with that being said, love my next question for you is how can you modify is kind of what you were just saying right now, the meaning piece. How can you modify the meaning of a breakup? That way you can identify with it differently. It's kind of what you were just touching on. I don't know if you want to speak a little more into it.
Sure, absolutely. So let's assume that you don't have the opportunity to get closure with the person,
Mm-hmm.
right? So one of the best ways to modify the meaning is to get closure within yourself, right? So play both roles, play him, play her, play yourself, and then ask different questions and answer from their perspective, right? And then maybe flip it so that you're now on the opposite end. You're the one having questions asked to you, and ask questions that they might ask, say things that they might say, and go back and forth and answer those questions. So what happens is the brain experiences both sides of the conversation. You put yourself in the other person's shoes when you're asking them questions, and you put yourself in their shoes when they're asking questions or making statements. So you then get to respond. So your brain experiences this range of possibility, which is really important to create neural pathways. So the more you think about this, now some people are going to say, don't think about it, it just makes you feel worse. It's different when you're consciously and intentionally thinking about it than when you're letting your subconscious mind ruminate about it. Okay. And you're not consciously doing anything. You're just consciously observing the rumination over and over and over. So when you consciously choose to play both roles, asking the other person questions and making statements, and then responding the way you think they would respond, and then switching it, and then you ask them questions and make statements and responding for them as you think they might respond, you discover tons. When you do that, all of a sudden all these neural pathways open up, which creates freedom because you have choice of what? Choice of the way you want to now look at this situation. When you now look at this situation with all these options, now you can choose what you want this to mean. How do you want this? What do you want this relationship previously to mean? The breakup to mean? What do you want to learn from it? If you're not taking time to actually learn, this is one of the biggest things. If you sit down and go, okay, what did I learn? And make a list of all the things you learned, all the beautiful things, all the amazing things, all the things that you would never do again, all the things that you would never accept again, all the things that are non-negotiables, all the things that are negotiable that you weren't negotiating about before, right? And you own everything that you did, but you don't own more than what you did. All of a sudden, you can look at all these options and you can say, you know what? How do I now want to feel? In
Mm-hmm.
fact, if you want, just very, very briefly, I'll walk people through, and because this is recorded, right? And if anybody, I don't know if you're going to be selling these or making these available for people, but are you okay if I very, very, very quickly walk people through a process? Yeah?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely, of course.
Okay, so I'm going to do it really quickly because I don't want to take up too much time. And if anybody wants more details on this, at the end of the call, I'll make sure that they can find a way to connect with me. So
Yes.
take a piece of paper and not let it be vertical, meaning up and down. Turn it sideways so it's horizontal. It's longer left and right. Fold it in half, but fold it in half so the fold is on the bottom. Okay, so when it's folded in half, the crease is on the bottom. This is important, and make 4 columns. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so 3 lines up and down, make 4 columns. First column is going to be the event, okay? And the second column is going to be called emotions. The third column is uh, Give me a sec. Fourth column is meaning. Third column, I'll come back to it. I have to think about it. Give me a sec. I'll come right back to it. So when we go into the first column where it's the event, name the event
Mhm.
and name it whatever you want. A heart ripped out from the love of my life, whatever. You make it as emotional as you want. Okay, call it whatever you want. All right, but call it something that's got some emotion to it. Second column, fill out all of the emotions that you're experiencing. Right. So list all of those emotions that you felt about yourself, about them, about the relationship, and also about the breakup, about yourself and the breakup, about them and the breakup, about the breakup itself. Okay, so make sure that you really look at all of those. And then the third column, what you want to do with that is you want to identify, and I can't remember what I normally call it. I'll think of it in just a minute. But you want to identify in this third column, what were all of those, give me a sec. I want to remember this so I can get it right for your people. Otherwise, this is a waste of their time and yours. Give me just a sec. Um, I should have started this book that I told everybody I was going to start. Um, so meaning, what you want it to mean.
Emotion. It'll be a belief.
No, emotions. Oh, belief. Did you just say beliefs?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love you. You're perfect. Oh my God, you're like psychic. You're the best ever. Yes, the third column is belief. Okay.
Mhm.
And you could switch the third and the fourth column depending on how your brain processes. Okay. But let's start with belief in the third column, meaning in the fourth column. Oh my God, I love you. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
saving my
of
ass.
course.
So now in this third column, after you write down the what it means, or the what your title is, all the emotions. The third column, what do you believe about yourself in that situation, in the breakup, or right now? Okay, and then or what did you even, if you're doing it about the relationship and not about the breakup, what beliefs did you have about yourself? What beliefs did you have about the relationship? What beliefs did you have about your partner? And then look at all of those and write down all the meanings. Now beliefs and meanings seem very, very similar. Okay, but what did the belief tell you? What did it cause you, that situation, because you believed the way you believed about yourself? What did that mean for you when the breakup happened? Okay, and what were the meanings about the relationship when the breakup happened, and what were the meanings about him when the breakup happened. So beliefs lead to meanings. All right, once you do that, then flip the page over. So now everything you wrote is on the back side. First column again is event, second column again is emotion, third column is belief, fourth column is meaning. First column, I want you to rename the event. Okay, and normally I would have you go through this with me. So just writing it is not really good enough. So actually talk yourself through this.
Mhm.
But if I was talking you through it, I would help you go through this 3, 4, 5 times, where I wouldn't even have you write down the event title yet. So before you flip the page over, if we go back to the page you just wrote, tell the story to yourself. Every gory, ugly, horrible detail, every tragic, sad, painful loss because of the love that was there. Tell the whole story in all the pain, all the glory, all of that. Then flip the page over. Then tell the story again, but tell it within, like, let's say it took you 10 minutes to tell the story. You're talking to the mirror, talking to yourself, talking to your journal. Let's say it took you 10 minutes. Now tell it in 2 minutes. Okay. And um, don't tell it with emotion. Just literally tell it in 2 minutes and just the facts, no emotion. Then tell it again in 90 seconds, just the facts. Then tell it again in 60 seconds, no emotion, just the facts. Then tell it again in 30 seconds, no emotion, just the facts. Then tell it again in 15 seconds or even 5 seconds, no emotion, just the facts. Then once you've done that, now rename it. That first column, event name, now name it something. Not with all the emotion, just something simple like
Mm.
breakup, okay? Or goodbye or new beginning, something that is not attached to the pain that was on the other side of the page. Emotions, big X through that. You don't even need that column. Why? Because there's no need to pull all that crap up. Now, from this state, what do you believe about yourself? What do you believe about that person? What do you believe about that relationship? What do you believe about the breakup? From this non-emotional state, just what are the facts? What are the beliefs? And then what do you want? This is important because I'm going to change the fourth column from just meaning to what do you want it to now mean? This is
Mm.
important. What meaning are you going to carry with you into the future? So
Mm.
with every one of those things on the left and the in the belief column, right? with every one of those that you feel is important, right? Write those new beliefs over and over and over. Like literally, just like let's say you say, I believe I'm actually a really good person. So if that's what you
Mhm.
wrote in the belief column, write over it, like literally, like until it's almost bold. Okay, write over it, write over it, write over it, make it like just thick with ink. I believe I am a good person, right? So it's so thick, so
Yell it
important.
out loud in the
Yell
mountain.
it out loud. I believe I'm a good person. I believe I'm filled with love. I believe I'm amazing. I believe the next person who gets me is going to fall madly in love with me, right? And so then draw an arrow, a big thick arrow, and color the arrow in from the column to the what I want it to mean from this point forward about me column. So then carry that over, and then in the meaning, what is that meaning? I believe that I'm a good person, right? What does that now mean to you? What does it mean about you? It means that I show up in a kind way. It means that I show up in a way that's loving. It means that I show up in a way that is generous and gentle and patient. And so go through this with all the top 3, 4, or 5 in the beliefs column, and then go over them, over them, shout them out. I believe the next person that I meet is going to fall madly in love with me, right? And even the stuff about the relationship and about him or her, whoever you're with, right? If you're like, I believe they just were really struggling and didn't truthfully understand what they were losing out on. If that's really important for you and that's a belief you want to carry into your future, then write over it, write over it, write over it, say it out loud, draw the big arrow to the other side. And then what does that mean to you? It means that I have compassion for them now. It means that my heart goes out to them. It means that if they need something, I still want to be there for them, but not in a romantic way. It means that I'm going to set different kinds of boundaries in the future with them, also with other people. It means that there's no reason for us to fight about this. If they want to fight, I'm going to just smile and say, when you're able to talk about it, I would love to talk to you, but I can't fight about it anymore. Whatever it means to you. And then look at these meanings that you want to carry into your future, and the top 3, 4, or 5 that you want to carry. Bold them, bold them, bold them, bold them, bold them again. Write over it, rewrite it. Shout out loud again, baby. Punch your heart, jump up and down, say it out loud, move your body, spin around, throw your hands up, say a prayer of gratitude and thanks, and I promise you, you will feel better. And so I did take a lot longer with that than I wanted to. Forgive me, but it's a really palpable, really amazing experience. And the fact that where I took you from telling the story on the other side with all the emotion, flipping it over, and then telling the story in 2 minutes, 90 seconds, 60 seconds, 30 seconds, 15 seconds, 5 seconds. Don't negate that. Do this, because that's the process of winding down the brain and pulling out the emotions and just looking at the facts. You're literally separating pieces and parts out. And when you do that, you're rewiring your brain to bypass the emotional dump, the cortisol dump that makes you feel crappy, right? Instead, it's bypassing that and just sticking with the facts. When you bypass that, you by default feel better. And if you by default feel better and you end with new meanings and new belief systems, you're going to show up and look at everything differently. And if you have new beliefs and new meanings, then that means your brain is functioning differently, which means it's releasing different kinds of chemicals. You're by default, you're going to feel better. You don't have a choice. Can you go back and feel crappy? Of course, just change the way you're
That's
thinking.
a choice too.
Yeah, absolutely, it is. Right?
Yeah.
Just flip the page back over. Just start thinking the old thoughts, the old stories. But I guarantee if you go through this and you go back to feeling crappy, chances are you won't go back to feeling as crappy unless you really truthfully want to feel that way. Then you have to actually do a little work to get back there. But you can if you want. But why? You're so
I
beautiful. You're
oh, go ahead.
so worthy. You're so amazing.
Yes, you
Yes.
are. And PJ, in the very, I love everything that you just said, and it's so fascinating because when you first got on and you mentioned Buddhists, and you look at what a Buddhist believes is that everything has no meaning, right? Every event is empty, and it's only the meaning that we personally choose to attach
That's right.
to
That's
it.
right.
So I love and thank you so much for taking the time to explain this exercise. Like, it is such a powerful one to really choose and look at, like, what meaning are you attaching to it that's evoking X, Y, and Z. So I think that's incredible. So thank you for sharing that. And it leads me into our last question, which is, with all of this beautiful, valuable information that you are sharing, we're so blessed to have you, is, how can one start to love again? How can we start to love again?
There's a beautiful way to start to love again. If I'm going to do this also in 2 minutes, close your eyes
Mhm.
Everybody who's listening right now, close your eyes. And I'm going to ask you to just simply breathe, take 3 deep breaths
Mhm.
and let them be deep, so deep that they stretch the muscles in your chest and your neck and stretch the space between your ribs. Because
Mhm.
what I want to do is help you to relax the muscles that are creating tension in your body. So
Mhm.
as you breathe in deeply and stretch those muscles and your lung or around your lungs, between your ribs, around your chest, around your shoulders and your neck, when you exhale, exhale slowly through your mouth, and slowly as you exhale, just allow yourself to actually release some of the tension in your body. And then that deep breath again, right? And then the exhalation slowly, and that deep breath a third time, and that exhalation slowly. And
Mhm.
then as you continue to sit there with your eyes closed, breathe love into your heart. Breathe joy and peace into your heart. Whether you breathe it up through your nose and down into your heart or directly through your chest, breathe love, peace, joy, gentleness, compassion, kindness, peace into your heart. Feel that as you breathe it into your heart. Let it tingle through your body. Let it go down your arms and your legs and up your spine into your brain. So let your heart feel it, let your body feel it, let your brain feel it. And then when you exhale, exhale. This is going to sound weird, but trust me. Now exhale intentionally all those good feelings back into your heart. So breathe out through your mouth, but exhale with intention to breathe all that love and joy and peace and compassion and kindness back into your heart. And then when you breathe in through your heart that love and peace and joy and compassion and kindness into your heart. And let it fill up your body and fill up your brain. So your heart and your body and your brain are all tingling. And then when you exhale, exhale through your mouth and breathe into your heart again. And as you breathe into your heart, breathe in all intentionally, breathe that love and peace and joy into your heart. And then breathe that love and peace and joy into your heart. And then exhale that love and peace and joy into your heart. Literally create this cycle. But make sure when you're breathing in, it tingles your body, it tingles your brain, your heart truly feels full. And when you exhale, exhale with that intention through your mouth to blow that love and peace and joy and compassion and gentleness and kindness back into your heart. So literally you're creating a closed loop because there is nothing in the universe that is not the same.
Mhm.
Everything is one,
Mhm.
right? And so the universe by default is a closed loop.
Mhm.
It's a closed feedback loop, and
Mhm.
you're creating and witnessing the same thing within your own heart. When you
Mhm.
do this 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 times, if you do this for 2 or 3 or 4 minutes, I promise you, you'll start feeling love again. And then go out and play. Go do
Mhm.
something fun. Go find some friends to laugh with or play with. Go do something that's going to cause the dopamines to be released in your brain. I don't care if it's shopping or eating chocolate or going on a Ferris wheel or a roller coaster or going for a jog or lifting weights or just going and hugging somebody that you love so much or holding a sign that says free hugs and just hugging as many people as you can so that the dopamines and oxytocin start getting released. Go out and buy flowers and walk around and give them to people. It doesn't matter.
Or Aqua Jetpack.
Yes, or aqua jetpacking. It's amazing. So fun. I love it. Go and do something that you haven't done before. Go and play with your best friend. Go do something fun. Change what you're thinking about. Change your focus. And when you do that, by default, you'll feel differently in that present moment. And you'll realize, oh, I do feel better. Do I want to feel worse? The world, the universe is built on contrast. You have a choice. Do I want to feel good or do I want to feel bad? It's your choice. It's always your choice.
I love that, PJ. And there's been such a theme in everything you've been saying, which is the choice piece, right? It's like it's a choice to get up and talk in the mirror. It's a choice to have a conversation with your subconscious. It's a choice to do the breath work. It's like it
Mhm.
truly, it's that personal responsibility piece. It's so vital when we're going through a fragile time. So, thank you so much for everything.
Thank you.
Truly, truly, you're such a blessing. And I love all the valuable, the
Thank
valuable
you.
insight that you shared. And
Thank you.
you want to mention your free gift?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay,
So
cool.
I'll give you 2 things,
Mhm.
and it's really easy because they're basically in the same spot. If you go to engagedin1year.com, engaged in one O-N-E year.com, you can get I think 4 free, yeah, 4 free videos that I created like I don't know, almost 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. So please forgive me. The quality is not very good, but the content is juicy and delicious. It's over an hour worth of content on how to find and win the heart of your man. And also on that page, there's an opportunity for you to click to sign up for a free 101 20-minute call with me. I know that so many times people are like, oh, this content is great. I love it. I love to listen to what people are saying. I like the free PDF that I got. I like the videos or the audio that people created, but I just wish I could talk to somebody about my problem. With me, you can. Just
Woo.
go to engaged1year.com,
Mhm.
watch the videos, And very simply, sign up for a one-on-one call with me, and we'll get on a call and we'll do 20 minutes. And we'll talk about where you are and how we can get you past some stuff.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's
Thank
such an
you.
honor. And everyone who's watching, go check out PJ stuff. He's amazing. And there'll be a link below here. So to make it easy for you.
Thank you so much. I love you a ton, Rebecca. You are beautiful, amazing, filled with laughter and joy, and you blessed my very life from the moment I spoke to you.
Oh, I know. I was bragging about you today before we even got on here. So
Thank you.
thank you
Thank you.
everyone for listening and being a part of this journey.
Bye, everyone. I love you.
Bye. Mwah.